Trajectories of hidden thoughts. Who wears the mask after the face is gone? In that which we know, we are a knower beyond words. We are a knower beyond words. As you learn from the love of your world, you shall find the simplicity in totality always being here. Absolute consciousness, supreme consciousness, absolute truth, absolute reality, the greatest projection of heaven. It is all now. Observe it and perceive it, and see that you have perceived and observed yourself. For that which comes within is that which you know and that which you are. Guided by an ability to confront your sense of identity beyond thought, ideas will feel they are dissolving within greater light of being. Direct experience is an activation where it's that moment where, imagine if you've had headphones on for eons, you suddenly take off those headphones and you just run outside and hear birds chirping. Some madmen find eternity in their solitude. However, when we are all temporal beings, we are gravitated to the enormity of the conclusion of the species. What that means is after I began to plan my life, that was really quick, you know. It's like as a kid, I remember they asked me, what did you want to do? What did you want to be when you grew up? And I remember saying this abstract idea of me wanting to create a robot factory to get rid of all these workers, you know. And it's because there were these workers in front of our house, and I'm like, why are they going through such labor, you know? But then I didn't have the total economical understanding of the world and where pretty much there comes a moment where in your observance of that which you are experiencing and that which you have experienced, there is no need to be a future, and you see it all. It's as if you see it like this. If we have, let's say, visualize visualize a cone and visualize that consciousness is being poured into this cone, which is space-time. And as this cone is being poured, the understanding of all these expansive senses of self, all individuality is blending with individuality to see that it could never be individual. And in there, you see the inspiration that has become the steps of the ape into the eyes of man and beyond. There needs to be an opening of greater existential allowance, because I'm seeing many people have taken certain steps in this life, have been raised in certain ways, but they are not allowing themselves to be seen beyond those ways. What that means is you must, as a human being, just have an ability to, in a sense, refresh yourself as simply as you refresh your browser. You can align yourself. You can begin to see that the novelty of the moment is your youth, and all ideas upon that which is your moment, which if you segment it through a sense of past and future, of course you will see a collapse, because you have allowed yourself to become individual. What that means is there were many moments in my life that I went through a very, very intense, stressful confusions, as if just a black mist or cloud had just come, and if I was just sitting on a mountain, you know. And for a second I was observing this confusion, and I was wondering what is the answer, and at first I blamed my world. I'm like, why isn't my world helping me? Why isn't there a response? And I got very angry. But then I began getting angry at myself for being in the situation, because it seemed that the world, when someone doesn't care, we take the responsibility to care for ourselves. And so I just observed and wondered, where am I going? And I did not ask this question as an individual or just a petal floating in the wind. I asked it as my moment, and the answer was my moment. And so it is a sense of very wonderful sense of self-surrender to your moment of experience, which is a transcendental existential observance. There was a very realized human being, and this man, his name was Swami Shivananda. And he has this quote, which I actually, saw online, and he says, "Renounce all your belongings and surrender yourself unto God." And you begin to see, is this the same God that is an old man with a beard made of clouds? No, this God is the greatest experience of life that is your moment. It's not about the word, it's about where the concepts are pointing to. When this man says, renounce all your belongings and surrender yourself unto God, exchange for a moment the word God and make it renounce all your belongings and surrender yourself unto life. You will begin to see the wisdom in this is that it was never about an idea trying to survive or having a purpose or an ambition. It was about how much this experiencer, multidimensional being, observed from its limited dimensions and there found the capacity to be its own eternity. For if in this plane of existence the pilot of consciousness does not take the responsibility to find the pilot's cap, you will begin to see that the turbulence will be your own doing and your world is waiting for an instant of your allowance to provide yourself the greatness that you are. And this greatness is beyond image, so be still and silent within the awareness of your being. And Mr. Within recommends doing this in nature. Go sit by a stream. I personally like finding a rock between a stream, and sitting there where the water is moving around you and simply be still. Don't call it meditation, don't have words for it. But in that moment, renounce all your belongings, all ideology, thought, form, and any consideration of an incapable self. And surrender not in regards to things, but in regards to leaving a room which was empty. What that means is you visualize yourself leaving a room rather than surrendering to some weird story conception. And surrender yourself all that gives you a sense of identity, all form found and observed within your moment, onto life, onto God, onto all that is, onto the unified field, anything. Blessings. The power of that quote was in your ability to give yourself the vision that is always here. It is very simple. Do not think that you have to go to India to realize what you already are. And just realize it's a simple thing. India is a very beautiful catalyst and will be for this world. And blessings to the voice that comes from that land. There have been beings who have done nothing, who have been illiterate, and have realized the nature of being. And it's because back then they did not have too many TVs and distractions. Back then it was life looking at life, and so man always was with its world as it learned from it. The capacity for you to acknowledge yourself more than the chains that frame you is to not be hindered by the Titan's roar, but as conception breaks itself, eternity was always whole. For within your most conscious breath, you are the alignment of your world. Tap into a sense of trusting your life and let life flow. Your lifestyle doesn't have to per se change, but how you're aware of your lifestyle is more important. And of course, remember that story where this awesome Zen story where this thief goes up to the Zen master and he's like, I've gone to all the other people and they want to change me. Assume that's my day job, I'm a thief. Give me realization. And he says this to the Zen master. And the Zen master looks at the thief and he's like, all right, I'm not going to ask you for any of that. And tells him the next time that you go to steal what you're stealing, just put it down and look at it. Just for a second, take another look. And so the thief's like, all right, that sounds simple. And he just, runs along with his bow and arrow. That same night, the thief has gone to go steal. And he's in the Imperial Palace and he has the jewel in his hand. And for him, it feels as if something he's been doing every day, so it's very easy. And right when he's about to take that jewel, actually, he just puts the jewel down and looks at it. And he begins to observe and he's like, gosh, why did the Zen master make me look at this rock? And for a second, it just hits him, rock. And he sees that his whole life has been oriented based on a certain sense of just getting a rock. He's been stealing something. And he wondered, there's so much more to life, to my experience, than just this constant frame and pattern of reality manifestation and habit. And so he broke out of his routine and immediately went to the Zen master and became a disciple. And, and the Zen master smiled when he saw him. It's like, nice. The Zen master was probably like, I'm happy that worked. But at the same time, acknowledging all into the clarity that is the emptiness of now. It's a very nice story, but so is the story of life. Observe it, and in the clarity of an untouchable view, in a very transcendental omniscience, you shall know you have found it. And this you is the same you in universe, and also that which is beyond. Much blessings and namaste.